What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 66 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're going to talk about NFL Tour. That's right, a 12-year-old game is making an appearance on the show, My Time at Portia, and we'll look forward to this week's new releases. You're probably asking yourself, Sean, why is there a 12-year-old game featuring on your show today? Well, technically, it is called Week in Review, and it was something that I played over the past week, so I would, logically talk about it. What was the word? I had the word earlier, but I can't remember what it was. It would... something. Brain. Go brain. Brain go, brain go, go, brain, 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 go, go, brain. Brain go, go. Qualify for review on a show called Week in Review. It's a little bit of like a semantical Week in Review. The idea typically is to be like, hey, I'm on top of things and checking out new things, and maybe I should have gone to see Little this weekend, but I was really tired, and then the NFL released a schedule on Wednesday, and I thought, why not play 16 games of NFL Tour? That was a good idea, right? Well, it was like a $7 joke that went for 4 hours, so that was fun. NFL Tour actually is a pretty fun game, and it holds up remarkably well. Kind of like when we talked about Dangerous Driving last week. It's that super fun, over-the-top, arcadey style of game that they just don't make anymore. NFL Tour is the third installment in the NFL Street franchise. Actually, back in the mid-2000s, EA had a bunch of different stuff under the title EA Sports Big, and they had a big special screen for it. It was EA Sports Big. Maybe I should just edit that in so I don't look like an idiot. I probably won't. Under this label, they had stuff like SSX, which was a snowboarding game like Extreme Snowboarding. They had FIFA Street, and they had NBA Street, along with NFL Street. And they were all super arcadey, over-the-top sports games. And in the last decade, EA has really gone away from that sort of stuff. They haven't released a new Burnout. You hear people talk a lot, all the time, about, hey, release a new Burnout. Hey, release a new Skate. Now I'm here to tell you, hey, make a new NFL Street or NBA Street. With the exception of FIFA Street, every one of those franchises made an appearance on the next-gen consoles, which would be Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii. I don't know if any of the games actually were on Wii, but that's beside the point. They made the jump to HD, and I guess they just didn't sell enough to really merit any sort of follow-up. The closest thing we ever got to a sequel for NFL Tour was Madden NFL Arcade, which kind of abandoned the NFL Street aesthetic and moved it more towards a professional aesthetic. Think NFL Blitz, but minus the hits after the end of the play, and that's kind of what you got from it. I bought it day one, and I had a pretty good time with it. It's fine, and it's something I'd like to see EA come back to. I talked about it a little bit when we were talking about Dangerous Driving. I think there's room for this stuff, and I'd love to see them explore that pricing structure a little bit more. I don't think there's anything wrong with releasing a game like Dangerous Driving that is very much, it's a single-player game that has leaderboards, and it knows what it wants to be, and it releases at $30 with a multiplayer update incoming. I think you can do that with an arcade-style football game or an arcade-style basketball game. We've seen it with NBA 2K Playgrounds, and I'm curious to see how 2K handles that series moving forward. I think NBA 2K Playgrounds is actually a pretty good game. It's not the best game in the world, but it definitely harkens back to that NBA Street sort of feel, even if it is just 2-on-2 and the power-ups are kind of weird. Getting back to the actual game that I'm supposed to be talking about, NFL on Tour, it's a lot of fun. It's really simple, easy football. You can run what I ran, which was the same play, Pancakes, over and over and over again and still be effective. It's over the top in fun ways. It just feels like a big silly game. The commentary sucks and is really annoying. There are a couple of good lines, but most of the time it's oh my god, this is really annoying and really bad, and it shouldn't be this way. I get what they're trying to go for with it. They're trying to have fun with it, but it just comes across as really lame and boring most of the time. Of course, playing 16 games in a row might do that. On the flip side, I played 16 games in a row of this, and I had a pretty okay time. I spent 4 hours with the game, which means that's the death nail in the coffin. I'm never going to go back to it, but that's fine. I'm really surprised at how well the game held up. I had enough fun with it to play it for 4 hours, and I think that's all you can really ask of a game from 12 years ago. Honestly, this was a $7 joke that turned into a 4-hour stream that's now turned into a review on this show. But NFL on Tour is an okay game. I don't really know how to end that, because it's a 12-year-old game. Have I mentioned that enough? It's from 2007. It's 2019. Why am I buying this? On a much more current note, the other game this week is My Time at Portia. And if you had told me a year and a half ago that I would enjoy these kind of farm simulation games, I probably would have laughed in your face. But Stardew Valley really turned that tide, and I actually really enjoy these types of games. Now, I should preface this review by not comparing it that much to Stardew Valley, because I think that's really misleading. And that's actually the first point I'd like to make, is this game isn't what I thought it was going to be. It does follow the same basic plot structure, air quotes, like the same basic setup. That's a better way to say it, because that's a more accurate way to get my point across. You take over a family member's piece of land, and then the story goes on from there. I put story in air quotes because there isn't it's not linear. It's very open, and your goals are very overarching. The main difference between this game and what I thought it was going to be and what it actually is the farming aspect in it. I played this game for 6 hours and I planted one crop. One single crop. You can't not plant crops in 6 hours if you play Stardew Valley. You just can't. That's insane. You have to plant crops. It's a farming simulation game. But with this game, it seems like it's more quest-based and building-based than it is farming simulation game, and that's totally fine. It has everything you would expect from a game like this. You go in, you meet town folk, and you improve your relationships with them by bringing them gifts and getting to know them, and so on and so forth. You go to a mine, and you can mine materials, you build stuff, you plant stuff, you move on. If you're playing this type of game, you know what it is. One of the differences with this game that I really enjoy is that it has an actual leveling system. So right now I'm currently level 10, and it has a skill tree, which is something completely different to me in a game like this. I haven't really spent that much time with the skill tree because I haven't really made a ton of progress. And the reason I haven't actually made much progress in the skill tree is because I haven't actually made much progress in the overall game. And that's where my kind of main gripe comes from. Early on in the game, you end up with a pretty big quest. You have to build a bridge from one island to another. And so I started working on that, not realizing that I was missing several steps between step A and the step that I was doing. Basically, you get a handbook and it has different recipes for things that you can create. So you create like a little furnace, you can create like a wood cutter, you create a grinder thing. There are like 4 items, I can't remember what they're called. But you're supposed to create 4 items before you take on this major quest, but I didn't know that. So what I think this game needs is actually a couple of smaller quests that point you in the direction of, hey, you need to build step 1, and now you need to build step 2, step 3, and step 4. Because all of a sudden I was getting towards the end of building the bridge, and I looked at it and I went, oh, I don't have the ability to make certain parts. So I need to take this down, which is nice because it gives you all the materials back, so you don't lose anything. But now I feel like I'm back at square one when I felt like I was making progress, even though I really wasn't. The other small complaint I have with this game so far is that things take a lot of time to do, and a lot of stuff has multiple steps to get it. So you have to go into the mine to get the ore. You have to take the ore and put it in the smelter to make the bars. Once you make the bars, then you need to take it over to the other thing to make the plates or to make the like bronze rods or what have you. And that is where I'm struggling with this game a lot. And I don't think it's the game's fault necessarily. I think it's just I'm having a hard time balancing all of these spinning plates and trying to keep track of the thread that I'm working on. For example, when I was streaming it on Sunday night, I kept having to look at the menu to remind myself what I was doing. I have like 6 steps that I need to get done tomorrow or by Wednesday or whatever the days were. And I needed to put stone in the furnace to make the bricks to do this, but I also needed to remember to put the wood in the cutter so that I could have good planks for another quest. And I needed to remember that there was a third other thing, and I'm like having trouble remembering it now. And I was having a lot of trouble remembering it in the game, where I kept looking at it and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? I need to make sure that I have all this stuff set up, and I'm just not it just wasn't clicking in the way that I thought it would. And it was a little bit frustrating, but I'm not blaming that on the game. That was just something I was personally struggling with. And this is, obviously when I talk about a game or a movie or anything on this show, it's very much my personal experience. And that was just something that I was like, man, I'm trying to balance all of this. The other thing is that a lot of the stuff can take a lot of time, and you kind of have to babysit it because you don't always have enough fuel to get your goals done. So, for example, the furnace needs wood in it, and you can only hold up to 20 hours worth of wood in 20 hours. Every minute in real life, every 60 seconds is 1 hour in game. So you have to kind of keep track of it consistently, make sure that you're up on it, and that way, like, you can keep things moving in a flowing pace. And that was something else I was struggling with as well, where I was like, oh, I'm going to run over to the mine and grab some more ore, and I'm going to dig around there for a little bit. But little did I know that the fuel was about to run out in like an hour and a half or whatever it was. And so I spend all day in the mine, and I'm like, cool, all this stuff's going to be done, and then it wasn't, and then, crap. Another minor criticism I would have of this game is the way it saves. It saves at the beginning of each day, and that's it. There was one day, I think it was like the 12th day of the year that I have played so far, I had to play it 4 times, and that only compounded like how much of a hard time I was having spinning all these plates, is because I would get everything done and I'd get everything set up, and then I'd get really brave and start beating up on some enemies, and then they would knock me out, and then it would restart me at the beginning of the day, and I'd have to go through that whole process again, but I wouldn't do it quite right, and I'm like, I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. I guess this will kind of just have to work, and then get knocked out, and I'd have to do it all over again. Each time I'm getting knocked out, I'm forgetting like a piece of the puzzle that I had done before, and I'm like, it's really starting to fall apart on me. But it is a good game. These, again, this is all like my personal experience. It's the way I'm playing the game, the trouble I'm having with the game isn't necessarily the game's fault. It's just I haven't gotten quite into that flow of the game just yet. Overall, though, I am really enjoying the game. I love that there's a questing system. You can pick up commissions from the commission board in the, I think it's in the town hall, and you can have like 5 or 6 things going at one time. You have like a main overarching quest. You can talk to other people, and they'll give you stuff to do, like, hey, I need 5 of this, or I need 3 of these, and that's where the more like building aspects come into it. So it's like, okay, I need to go get bronze, so I need to go head into the mine, that sort of stuff. Doing and completing commissions helps your workshop raise its level, gets you better commissions, you can make more money. That's where things start to kind of get on a little bit of a roll. I haven't gotten on that roll yet. I did some things out of order early on, which was a little bit frustrating. I wish it was a little clearer on what you needed to have before you take on the big bridge mission. But hey, that's kind of how it is. Each day lasts about 20 minutes, which is a good amount of time to get a number of things started and kind of work towards, or completed and a bunch of stuff turned in, depending on how well you have your stuff organized. For me, it's not super well. I don't know, it's a game that I'm enjoying, and I'm looking forward to spending more time in Portia. Finally, we'll look forward to this week's new releases. On Blu-ray, The Destroyer starring Nicole Kidman is out, and the site I looked at had the movie Big Fat Liar listed on it, which I'm sure doesn't hold up in the year 2019, but it might be kind of fun to watch anyway. Avengers Endgame is in theaters, and Days Gone hits PlayStation 4. As for this week's streams, I'm not exactly sure what's going to be streamed on Thursday, but Friday will be the first half of The Walking Dead, the final season. Saturday will be the second half of the final season of The Walking Dead, and then Sunday will be The Walking Dead Michonne, and then with Sunday we'll be all done with Walking Dead streams, or Telltale Walking Dead streams. So that'll be the whole series, and that'll be nice to have done. As always, you can check out the streams the next day right here on YouTube, along with last week's bonus stream, NFL Tour. That'll be up on Wednesday, and then there's a Charizard GX Pokemon Detective Pikachu card unboxing on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you like the content, scroll on down a little bit and hit that subscribe button, and then you can scroll on down a little bit more and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of NFL Tour when it came out, or if you've played it recently. Let me know if you're enjoying My Time at Portia, and if you're not, tell me why. Be sure to catch the streams over on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and as always, check back every Tuesday for more Week in Review. See you next week.